It begins. Supposed to have a seal, recreate the Vengeance Most Fowl scene, but couldn't find one, so there's your intro.
What the hell are you? We are Venom.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Rosenthal Reviews. Today, we're starting 2025 off with a bang. First of all, I know I've been putting out a few shorts, but I haven't released a long form video for quite a while. So I hope you had a good Christmas festive holiday break. I hope you rested, recharged. I'm feeling that way. Let's go for 2025. And our first long form video of 2025 is my first long form ranking video, which I'm very excited to do. I'm hoping to do a lot more of these throughout the year. If you want to see more, if you want to see different kinds of content on the channel, whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below. Today, we are ranking every single Wallace and Gromit movie. Like many, I grew up on Wallace and Gromit. I loved these two. I watched Vengeance Most Fowl on Christmas Day. Now that it's out to a wider audience on Netflix, I thought, let's rank these. Okay, let's get cracking. After all, no use prevaricating about the bush. Although, I am wearing the wrong trousers. I'm sorry, that was really bad. Alright, I'm sorry, no more Wallace and Gromit puns. I don't actually know how close this is to my head. Jesus! That was scary. It was supposed to be a close shave.
Not even Wensleydale.
We had to start our list somewhere, and on that note, I do want to say that pretty much all of these shorts, all of these films, they're universally praised, they're well loved, I love them all, but something's got to come at the bottom. In a close shave, this time around we follow Wallace and Gromit in their window cleaning pursuits. They meet a woman called Gwendolyn who has an evil dog called Preston. He's been stealing sheep, he wants to make dog food, it's all very evil. And that's kind of the problem with a close shave, it's very dark. Gwendolyn as a side character is very depressed in a way. Gromit goes to prison for a decent chunk of the film, and the overall lighting of a lot of the shots, it's just very gloomy. The only upside of all of this is with Gromit going to prison, you do really see how much Wallace needs his dog. He presents very unshaven, his inventions lack organisation, he's all over the place. I appreciated that about this one. The charm of the series does present itself throughout moments in this film. Wallace getting barraged by the porridge gun, Wallace walking into the window, the introduction of Shaun the sheep even. And that's really what makes Wallace and Gromit what it is today. The giddy optimism between these two, the charming humour. It's here, it's just lessened in comparison with the other entries. But still, this is a decently entertaining adventure.
And I'm not a fruitcake, am I, lad?
In a matter of loaf and death, the duo turn their inventions to the world of baking. Out on one of their morning deliveries, they notice the baker-like girl and her dog Fluffles are in a spot of bother. The scene was so entertaining. Watching Gromit throw toasted tea cakes onto Wallace's kneecap to slow down the bike was just brilliant. And in the end, the duo saved the baker-like girl and Fluffles by putting a baguette in an alligator's mouth to stop it from snapping. Only in Wallace and Gromit, eh? Anyway, as you might imagine, the baker-like girl turns it into a love interest for Wallace, and then eventually, of course, a villain. And of course, Gromit, with some help from Fluffles, does end up saving the day. I put this one above a close shave because it's just way funnier. Like, watching Wallace complain to Gromit about how much of a fruitcake he thinks he is, and then asking Gromit if he actually thinks he's a fruitcake, only for Gromit to go... Or when Gromit is trying to dispose of the bomb and he's frantically looking around, goes to one window and it's like, oh no, there's a pond of ducks. Other window, oh, there's nuns with kittens. Like that classic, charming Wallace and Gromit humour, it's very much present here in comparison to a close shave. This one falls to the bottom of the list because overall I found the story less engaging. In particular, the baker-like girl, her character... I mean, it's a Wallace and Gromit movie, so who cares that much about character motivations, but I didn't really resonate with them too much. Like, she just wants to get slim and then, like, murder bakers. It's all very confusing. But still, this is a fun adventure.
No crackers, Gromit. We've forgotten the crackers.
In fourth place, where it all began, Wallace and Gromit, A Grand Day Out. Releasing in 1989, Nick Park, the director, pretty much single-handedly made this film over the course of 6 years. And apparently he offered Peter Sallis 50 quid to do the voice of Wallace. Like, stories like this are just mental to me, considering the culture impact that Wallace and Gromit has had, only for that to begin with pretty much a graduate student making a film by himself and offering another person 50 quid. Mind-boggling. Anyway, this is where we meet these two iconic characters, and with A Grand Day Out in particular, I realized just how much it informed my childhood beliefs. Like, for a few years, yes, I genuinely did think the moon was made of cheese. But I loved it. I loved the premise. I loved the execution. Something as simple as Wallace forgetting the crackers on the way to the moon was done in a way that it was somehow suspenseful, dramatic, funny, all at the same time. But with this short releasing pretty much like 35 years ago now, which is crazy, of course, storytelling, technology, it's progressed. That's the only reason why this one doesn't fall higher on the list.
This is my latest invention.
Pleased to meet you, Master Gromit.
Next up, the newest entry. It's made it into the top 3. Vengeance Most Fowl. I had a great time watching this on Christmas Day, and also given that it's a recent watch, there is potential for this to maybe move up a notch or two. Give it time to settle. You never know, but for now, it's coming in third. And with this film only releasing over the past week or two, here's your spoiler warning. If you have not seen Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl, I will be talking about a few gags, plot points, all of that good stuff. So if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend go watch it and then come back to this video. In this film, Wallace invents a smart gnome called Norbot to help Gromit with his gardening duties. But over there in the prison lacks a mysterious figure. Is it a chicken? Is it a penguin? At the start of the film, I wasn't sure about the whole Norbot gag. He was a tad annoying, and then as a consultant myself, like, I get enough of the AI and technology spiel on a day-to-day, so I didn't really want that constant reminder in Wallace and Gromit. However, by the end of this film, he's more than a welcome presence. The whole reset noise gag with Norbot did get me laughing a couple of times. And you know what? I like the overall messaging here around technology. The idea that, yes, it can help improve efficiencies in your life, but sometimes you just need to pat your dog on the head by yourself. Like, it doesn't need to be there all the time. I like that. As with all the other Wallace and Gromit entries, I do like the references to other films, other worlds, and I think in Vengeance Most Fowl, there's probably the most. I'm still discovering them. I've only seen the movie a couple of times, but among my favorites, firstly, the aliens reference with the radar thinking it was Norbot. That was really cool. I also thought at the end of the movie when Feathers is fighting Gromit with an umbrella, that was potentially a Batman reference. Feathers being a certain type of animal, the penguin. There's your nod. Like, maybe it was unintentional, but I don't think anything ever is with these films. I also thought in the same scene there was a shot that looked very Skyfall-esque with Daniel Craig fighting that guy on top of the train, maybe. And of course, without a doubt, that seal. Classic Bond reference, loved it. Among my other favourite references in this one, you did see Gromit's yellow raincoat from the wrong trousers hanging up. That was pretty cool. And also the farmer from Shaun the Sheep in one of the shots. Again, I loved these references. It elevated the film. Those are my favourite references in this movie. But what were yours? Let me know in the comments down below. My only real negative with Vengeance Most Fowl was the whole police investigation subplot. I mean, it was fine, just not overly engaging. Very small gripe. This is a really fun one.
Oh, Totty.
Lady Tottington, if you don't mind.
The first Wallace and Gromit feature film hit our screens in 2005, and what a debut it was. Not gonna lie, it did take a number of years for me to gain an appreciation for this film. As a kid, maybe even as an early teenager, I found it really scary. Yeah, I know bunnies aren't that scary, but there's something about that transformation scene with Wallace as he turns into that giant were-rabbit. It really scared me as a kid. So with this being the first Wallace and Gromit film, it did get me a tad worried as to whether the antics would get a little bit repetitive with more screen time. But this film proves more is better with these two. And not just with the dynamic duo, because throughout this film there is an abundance of personalities that present themselves. And that's what this film gets right, its side characters. Firstly, Lord Victor Quatermain, played by none other than Ralph Fiennes. I had no idea until I was doing research for this movie that Voldemort himself is in here. Anyway, he does a great job, and his character pretty much plays the villain throughout this movie, and they get it spot on. Like, they didn't go full on close shave where he's really dark and evil, because he's one of the funniest characters in this movie. You can hop, but you can't hide, pesto. His motivations are clear-cut and engaging. Yes, he's evil, but he's also got that funny, buffoon-like humour to him, perfect for a Wallace and Gromit movie. Lady Tottington as well, who Wallace on occasion is allowed to call Totty. She's another good character, a good love interest for Wallace. She introduces the vegetable competition, which of course then brings about that grand crescendo of Wallace saving Gromit. That's quite a rarity in this series and something that I really enjoyed. Anyway, I love this film. There's only one that can top it for me.
There's no use prevaricating about the bush.
In top spot, It's of course the wrong trousers. Was there ever really any doubt? We start with Wallace and Gromit and their usual antics, only for Feathers McGraw, a penguin slash chicken slash criminal, to move into their house, rent a room, and then replace Gromit as Wallace's prime chum. That whole atmosphere and vibe when Feathers is replacing Gromit, I love the antics there. When Gromit goes to pick up the newspaper from the door, as a dog would do, and as he's about to do so, Feathers comes and takes it. That was great. It served the story, but also reminded me of the multiple gags throughout where you're about to see Gromit use his mouth, and then he never does. As the movie progresses, we see Gromit become more and more suspicious of Feathers. And let's talk about that chicken for a second, because I don't like to use the word much, but this chicken's pretty iconic. The way he moves, the way that he pauses and takes a long stare, his evil mannerisms, you just can't top it. And a personal highlight for me is when Gromit breaks in to try and save Wallace, only for Feathers to then stick up his gun and stick him up. That was cool. I like that scene. But of course, my favorite scene, without a doubt, is towards the end of the film as we come to that grand finale. That train scene, I mean, 1993 this came out and it still holds up today. Gromit using a lampshade as a bulletproof helmet was genius. Wallace trying to save the day, but of course ultimately failing. Classic. Feathers McGraw ending up perfectly smushed in this little milk bottle. I love the scene. And that's it. There's my ranking of every single Wallace and Gromit movie. That's my personal ranking. I understand that pretty much all of these are universally loved. They're great. So your ranking might look a little different to mine. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching my first video of 2025. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. You can expect some more videos coming your way soon. And as always, please subscribe for more reactions and reflections, and I'll speak to you all very soon.